Picture this. You are floating 400 kilometers above the Earth, strapped into a bulky white suit that smells like ozone and stale sweat. It is just another Tuesday on the International Space Station. You are outside, performing a routine check on a cooling pump. Your wrench is tethered to your wrist, clicking rhythmically against the metal hull. Below you, the Pacific Ocean is a shimmering sheet of sapphire. It is peaceful. It is quiet. You are thinking about the dehydrated lasagna waiting for you in the galley. Then you hear it. Not a bang, but a sharp, high-pitched whistle, like a tea kettle screaming in a room where no one is home. A microscopic piece of space junk, a fleck of paint traveling at 30,000 kilometers per hour, has just punched a hole through your visor. 1 second, you are an astronaut. The next, you are a leaking balloon. Hold your breath. That is your first instinct, right? Don't. If you try to play hero and keep that air in your lungs, you are already dead. You see, space is a vacuum, and a vacuum hates a crowd. It wants everything inside you to be outside. If you seal your throat, the air in your lungs will expand so fast and so violently that your delicate alveoli will simply pop like bubble wrap under a steamroller. You won't die from a lack of air. You'll die because your chest literally exploded from the inside out. Welcome to the reality of depressurization. It is not like the movies. There is no instant frozen statue, and your eyeballs do not turn into grenades. It is much, much grosser than that. Let's talk physics, because the universe doesn't care about your feelings. We live at the bottom of an atmospheric ocean that presses down on us with about 101 kilopascals of pressure. In space, that number is 0. This brings us to the Armstrong limit. A lovely little boundary at about 19 kilometers up where the boiling point of water drops to the normal temperature of the human body. That is 37 degrees C. Since you are mostly made of water, this is where things get interesting. You aren't boiling because you're hot. You're boiling because the pressure holding your molecules together has checked out for the weekend. And trust me, it only gets worse from here. The first 5 seconds are a chaotic blur of physics and panic. As the air rushes out of your suit, the moisture on your tongue begins to sizzle. You can actually feel the saliva turning into steam. It's a tingling, prickling sensation, like drinking a battery acid milkshake. Your sweat glands join the party next. The thin film of perspiration on your skin flashes into vapor, stripping the heat away from your body instantly. You aren't freezing yet, but you feel a deep, penetrating chill as your own fluids betray you. You try to scream, but there is no air to vibrate your vocal cords. You are a silent movie character in a horror film with no audience. By the 10-second mark, your blood is having a midlife crisis. The dissolved gases in your bloodstream, mostly nitrogen, start forming bubbles. It is exactly like opening a bottle of warm soda. This is called ebullism. These bubbles travel through your veins like tiny glass shards, clogging up your capillaries and causing your joints to ache with a dull, throbbing intensity. You start to swell. Your skin is incredibly elastic, so you won't pop, but you will expand to twice your normal size. You become a fleshy, bloated version of yourself, a human pufferfish floating in the void. Your heart is struggling to pump this frothy, carbonated mess through your system, and it is failing. 15 seconds. That is the time of useful consciousness. This is the window you have before your brain realizes the oxygen supply has hit 0. Your lungs have actually reversed their job. Instead of putting oxygen into your blood, they are now vacuuming it out. The deoxygenated blood reaches your brain, and the lights start to flicker. Your peripheral vision begins to shrink, turning the vast expanse of stars into a narrow, blurry tunnel. You feel a strange, detached sense of euphoria. It is hypoxia, the brain's way of saying good night while the rest of the body is still screaming. You are drifting, spinning slowly, watching the earth rotate while your consciousness slips through your fingers like sand. Now, let's step inside your head for a moment.
I am so heavy. Why is it so quiet? My mouth tastes like a penny. I can't feel my hands anymore. The sun is too bright. It's a white-hot needle pressing against my retinas. I need to reach the airlock. Why am I moving so slowly? The stars are dancing. My chest feels like it's being crushed by an invisible hand. I just want to sleep. It's not cold. It's just empty. I'm fading.
And then the screen goes black. You are technically still alive for another minute or so, but you are no longer there. You are just a biological machine running on its final backup battery. While you are unconscious, the vacuum continues its work. Your skin turns a deep, bruised purple, a mix of bruising from the internal pressure and a lack of oxygen. Your heart rate slows to a crawl, then begins to skip beats. The ultraviolet radiation from the sun, unfiltered by any atmosphere, begins to bake your exposed skin, giving you the worst sunburn in human history in a matter of seconds. If you aren't rescued within 90 seconds, your blood pressure drops so low that the blood can no longer reach the brain. Your heart finally gives up, fluttering like a dying bird before stopping entirely. You are now a 150-pound piece of space debris, destined to orbit the planet until gravity eventually drags your bloated, mummified remains back into the atmosphere to burn up like a shooting star. History actually gives us a glimpse of this nightmare. In 1965, a technician at NASA's Johnson Space Center was accidentally exposed to a near vacuum in a test chamber when his suit leaked. He reported that the last thing he remembered before passing out was the water on his tongue starting to boil. He was lucky. They repressurized the chamber in 15 seconds, and he survived with nothing but a bad story and a newfound respect for atmospheric pressure. The crew of Soyuz 11 wasn't so lucky. In 1971, their capsule depressurized during re-entry. When the recovery team opened the hatch, they found the 3 cosmonauts sitting in their seats, looking perfectly normal, except for the blue splotches on their faces and the blood leaking from their noses and ears. They had been dead for minutes. To put this into perspective, being in a vacuum is like having every square inch of your body sucked on by a powerful industrial vacuum cleaner while someone simultaneously tries to inflate you with a bicycle pump. It is a total physiological collapse. We are designed for the cozy, heavy blanket of Earth's air. Take that away, and we are just fragile bags of wet salt and gas. It isn't the cold that kills you. Space is actually a great insulator, and you'd die of overheating before you froze. It isn't the lack of air that gets you first. It's the fact that your own body's chemistry relies on a weight that isn't there anymore. So, here is the takeaway. If you ever find yourself drifting away from the station without a tether, don't try to hold your breath. Exhale. Accept that you're about to become the most expensive piece of puffed-up litter in the solar system. It's a quick way to go, at least. You'll be unconscious before you can even finish a Hail Mary. If you enjoyed this trip into the void, hit subscribe so you don't miss our next breakdown of all the creative ways the universe can end you. And remember, if you're planning a trip to the moon, maybe pack some extra duct tape. You never know when you might need to patch a hole in your personality or your visor. Stay grounded, because up there, nobody can hear you sizzle.